happen. We've seen this whole story unfold with us, and I'm like, honey, there's only two things left that could happen, and we can't make it happen, and God hasn't promised it'll happen. And so anyway, so that evening came when the memorial, the candlelight thing was to happen, and it was an incredible day all in all. But we sat on this bench. It's the only place there was a bench, was this part of the field we felt like where the Lord wanted us. And we just sit there. We'd watch things go on in the day. We weren't to do anything. We were just to rest. And so as the sun began to set, slowly people began to trickle out of their dorms, kids coming out 2 by 2. And we prayed that, Lord, bring people here like animals coming to Noah's Ark. Just bring them. And they started coming out of buildings 2 by 2. And we're looking around. We're going, oh, gosh. The sun got a little lower. People started coming out from behind the buildings. The sun got a little lower. People started coming from everywhere. By the time it was time to start this, the whole drill field was packed. And we said, we better get up front or we won't have a spot at this thing. And so we ran up front. And it takes about 30 minutes or so for them to announce a name. There's a quiet time. And we're kind of like, okay, good Lord, this has been good. It's all done. We know it's done. But then across the field, a bugler starts up. And we look at each other and said, I think we just got our trumpet sound. And we shook our heads. We just looked at each other like, can you believe this? And then a shout started in the far corner of the drill field. It's a tech thing, but as Tammy and I say, these people are involved in something they have no idea. And it started over there, and then it came from over there, and then it grew over there, and then it grew over there. And within 30 seconds, the whole drill field had erupted into a shout. And we looked at each other and wept. What a God we have. In the period of a year, where people would say, oh, you're just dreaming things. I'll take it. He brought a whole story to life to us. The next day we got up and left. We do not pray about that anymore. God is doing something. And all we do is thank him. And occasionally we'll say, hey, remember our 32? We'll do that. Well, I'll end this way. When our daughter was a senior in high school. She had a science teacher who was a great influence on her life. Rachael had intended being a biology freak. She loved biology. But fell in love with chem when she got there, and that surprised us. And she would park herself in her chemistry teacher. She had set her heart to get to know this professor. And we didn't find out till after she was gone that this professor determined in his last year, if a student wanted to know him, he'd let them know him. And Rachael would go in, park herself across the chair, just literally across the chair, and ask a question, and he would say, that's not important. And then she would just sit there and look at him. He'd go, well, obviously it's important to you. And they get to answering these things. So she was going into the biochem, and because of a stock newsletter I had, the focus of nanotechnology was where she wanted to go. She was greatly influenced by a woman named Mrs. Teodori, who was her bio teacher at her Christian school. And Mrs. Teodori would pray for her students. And when you have a class that small, she literally would get what the Lord gave her in the way of a picture, a dream, or a vision of her kids. She shared that at Rachel's Memorial, which is on the web at rachelhill.org. And my brother and them in November of 2007 took that, got an artist in Boston to paint it the best he could, or sketch this. We showed her teacher, and she says, no one's seen this but me. It can't be. And when we showed her, she said, he nailed it. This picture would sit where our daughter's wedding picture would sit if she was here today. If she were married, it would be there. And I haven't seen Jesus yet, and I don't like most Jesus pictures because he's always just a Florida guy to me, painted with a tan, and I don't know what to do with that. My Bible says he's a Jewish guy. And so, but I'm all right with this one. And so I'll leave you with this.